In the heart of Africa, long before the arrival of Christianity and Islam, there was a rich tapestry of beliefs, gods, and traditions that defined the spiritual landscape of the continent. These ancient deities were not just figures of worship. They were reflections of the land, its people, and their intimate connection with nature. They were part of every aspect of life, from creation myths to daily rituals. And they carried the essence of African identity for centuries. Africa, with its diverse cultures and traditions, was home to a multitude of gods and goddesses, each belonging to different ethnic groups, regions, and tribes. These gods were believed to embody the forces of nature, earth, sky, water, and the ancestors shaping the world and the lives of those who worshipped them. Each deity had a distinct role, but their stories were interwoven, forming a complex and vibrant spiritual ecosystem. One of the most notable aspects of pre-Christian and pre-Islamic African beliefs was the centrality of ancestor worship. Ancestors were seen as guardians of their living descendants. They held power over life and death, offering guidance, protection, and blessings. The belief in the spirits of the ancestors was not merely symbolic, but a living, breathing force that influenced every major decision, from marriages to wars. It was a connection that transcended generations, binding the past with the present and the future. In Egypt, one of Africa's oldest and most influential civilizations, gods such as Ra, Osiris, and Isis dominated the spiritual landscape. The sun god was considered the king of all gods, and his journey across the sky was seen as a metaphor for life, death, and rebirth. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, was revered for his role in judgment, resurrection, and the cyclical nature of existence. Isis, the mother goddess, symbolized fertility, magic, and motherhood, serving as a protector of the living and the dead. These gods were not abstract ideas. They were part of the daily lives of Egyptians, and their temples, rituals, and priests played a vital role in society. Across the vast savannas of West Africa, the Yoruba people had their own pantheon of gods known as the Orishas. These deities governed various aspects of life, such as love, war, health, and the elements. Orunmila, the god of wisdom and knowledge, was revered as the guide of all human destiny. Shango, the god of thunder and lightning, was known for his fiery temper and his ability to both destroy and create. Ocean, the goddess of love and fertility, represented beauty, compassion, and the power of water, ensuring prosperity and abundance for her followers. Each Orisha had its own sacred rituals, songs, and dances, drawing people into a deep spiritual connection that continues to resonate today. In the heart of southern Africa, the Zulu people worshipped Untold, the creator god who brought life into the world. According to Zulu mythology, Untold emerged from the waters and gave birth to the first humans, teaching them the ways of the earth and the heavens. His role was central to the belief in life's cyclical nature, with every season, every plant, and every animal being imbued with a sacred purpose. The Kikuyu people of Kenya also had a powerful creator god, Gai, who lived atop Mount Kenya. Gai was seen as a benevolent figure who watched over his people, offering blessings and protection. He was both a god of creation and a god of justice, with his presence woven into the fabric of everyday life. Akai's sacred site was the mountain itself, which the Kikuyu considered the center of the universe, where the divine and the earthly met. But African spirituality was not confined to the gods alone. The spirits of nature, rivers, trees, mountains, and animals were also revered. These natural elements were seen as embodying divine power, and they played a crucial role in the spiritual and physical well-being of African societies. The rivers, for example, were thought to be the veins of the earth, carrying the life force that nourished crops, animals, and humans alike. Sacred groves were places of worship and reflection, where offerings were made to honor the spirits of the land. The animals were seen as messengers of the gods, carrying their wisdom and guidance through the physical world. In many African cultures, religion was not something that was merely practiced in temples or during ceremonies. It was a way of life, embedded in the everyday actions and decisions of individuals. A farmer's harvest, a warrior's victory, or a healer's cure were seen as gifts from the gods, achieved through ritual, prayer, and devotion. The gods were constantly present, watching over their followers, ensuring that balance and harmony were maintained in both the spiritual and material realms. As Christianity and Islam began to spread across Africa, they encountered these deeply rooted beliefs, often clashing with the indigenous gods and practices. Missionaries and conquerors sought to replace the old ways with their new religions. But they did not completely erase the spiritual traditions of Africa. Instead, many African beliefs adapted and integrated aspects of Christianity and Islam, creating a unique blend of faiths that reflects the resilience and adaptability of African spirituality. Today, while many African countries are predominantly Christian or Muslim, the legacy of the original African gods and their influence on culture, art, and spirituality remains strong. African spirituality continues to inspire movements that reconnect people to their roots, embracing the ancient deities and the wisdom they imparted. From the ceremonies of the Yoruba to the reverence of ancestors in southern Africa, the gods of Africa's past still play a role in shaping the present and the future. As we reflect on the original gods of Africa, it is important to acknowledge their power not just as divine beings, but as symbols of cultural identity, resilience, and the unbreakable connection between the earth, the ancestors, and the people. The gods were not just figures to be worshipped. They were a reflection of the very essence of African life, diverse, vibrant, and deeply connected to the world around them. Now that we've explored the origins of Africa's gods and their powerful role in shaping the continent's history, let's dive deeper into the lasting impact these deities have had on African culture, religion, and identity. From the temples of ancient Egypt to the shrines in West Africa, the gods have left their indelible mark on the spiritual practices and worldviews of millions of Africans. Despite the colonization and the spread of Christianity and Islam, many African communities have managed to preserve aspects of their ancient beliefs. The worship of ancestors, the reverence for natural spirits, and the connection to the divine through rituals and sacrifices remain an integral part of African spirituality. These practices are passed down through generations, keeping the memory of the original gods alive in the hearts and minds of the people. In many African communities, traditional healers, known as shamans or diviners, continue to perform rituals that connect the living with the gods. These healers are seen as mediators between the physical and spiritual worlds, using their knowledge of herbs, spiritual guidance, and ancestral wisdom to heal the sick and protect the community. The presence of the gods is felt through these healers, who are regarded as being endowed with divine wisdom and power. As the world becomes more connected and globalized, many Africans have embraced a hybrid form of spirituality, blending traditional beliefs with Christianity and Islam. This fusion of faiths is evident in the syncretic practices of Vodou in Haiti, in Cuba, and in Brazil, all of which have their roots in African religious traditions. These religions retain many of the original African gods, adapted and transformed through the lens of Christianity or other foreign influences, creating a rich, multicultural religious landscape. This blending of African gods with foreign religions is not just a product of colonization, but a testament to the resilience and adaptability of African spirituality. It reflects the ability of African cultures to absorb new ideas while preserving the core principles of their ancient beliefs. The gods of Africa were never meant to be static. They were living entities that evolved with time, shaping and being shaped by the changing circumstances of the people who worshipped them. In modern Africa, the gods are still venerated in various forms. Festivals, ceremonies, and dances dedicated to the deities continue to be celebrated, particularly in rural areas where traditional beliefs are still strong. These celebrations are not just religious events, but also cultural gatherings, where communities come together to reaffirm their identity, honor their ancestors, and express gratitude to the gods for their blessings. The stories of the gods are also passed down through oral traditions, where elders tell the tales of creation, struggle, love, and loss. These myths and legends serve as both entertainment and moral lessons, teaching younger generations about the values of courage, wisdom, respect for nature, and the importance of community. The gods of Africa are not just divine beings, but also powerful symbols that continue to shape the moral and ethical foundations of African societies. Despite the challenges faced by African spirituality in the modern world, the gods of Africa continue to be a source of strength, inspiration, and guidance for millions of people. The worship of the original gods may no longer dominate the religious landscape of the continent, but their influence is still felt in the daily lives of those who hold them dear. They represent a connection to the past, a link to the ancestors, and a reminder that spirituality is not just about worshiping gods, but about living in harmony with the world around us. As we explore the history of Africa's gods and their enduring legacy, we realize that their story is far from over. Their spirits live on in the rituals, the festivals, and the hearts of the people who continue to honor them. And just as Africa's history is rich and diverse, so too is its spiritual heritage, with its gods standing as symbols of the continent's strength, resilience, and eternal connection to the divine. So, if you're fascinated by Africa's original gods and want to learn more, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive deeper into the history of Africa's spiritual traditions and explore the gods who shaped an entire continent.